Dharmjeet Rattan.
I'm Kushil Samarasekera.
And I'm Greg Johnson.
And this is Android app development with the application Dungeon Raid, which we have been working on for the past couple of months.
It's not a typo, I promise.
Yeah.
Yes, it's Dungeon Raid, not Dungeon.
We'll talk about it.
Now, the game is essentially you are an employee at the company called Dungeon Co. And you are really upset. You're underpaid and overworked, and you want to really take charge of your own destiny. So what you're going to do is you're going to fight your way to the top of the corporate ladder to become the CEO of Dungeon Co. You might wonder how we got the name Dungeon Co. Well, it happened, we were working on a project for a class of ours, and it was, initially what we wanted to do for the programming class was to make just a standard RPG game, and it was called Dungeon Raid. However, what happened in the end product of that game, we ended up renaming one of our files Dungeon Raid, and it wasn't something we could go back and quickly...
It was the only important one.
Yes, it wasn't something we could go back and quickly fix, so we ended up living with it. And then later, when we ported over this RPG into an office environment, it just sort of fit. And so we've kept it. It's Dungeon Raid. Now, the aim of this project was to look into the aspects of Android application development. You look around nowadays, and everybody has some magical app on their phone that will listen to a song and tell you what song it is, or take a picture and make little like games appear out of thin air. And we wanted to sort of explore what that is, because it seems like a really faraway concept for someone who's not really familiar with programming, but we wanted to show that it's actually not too bad if you really put your mind to it. Now, like, Greg, take it away with the creative process.
So some of our goals with this is originally the three of us, which is taught here is C++, which is not what this is made in. So it's a little bit different. We had to learn Java, which we did over the winter with Dr. Jones in one of the courses. And at the very end, we touched on Android app development, which was one of our goals, is because we thought it was a really interesting field. It's really lucrative, as you guys probably know, and it's everywhere. I mean, you can't get away from it now. The PCs are turning into big apps. And so that was some of our goals. The front-end development is these content layouts, which are kind of like pages, and you turn them based on where you click. So we will show you how that works. And data management, we won't get too much into what's underneath, because it will take too long. But we know that we have players, and we have to store their information, and how we do that is achieved in the back end. Let's see, what do we have next? So that's back-end development. Debugging was huge. There's probably still bugs in there. It's kind of how it works. You'll make something, you'll forget to change something, you'll miss a semicolon, you'll miss something that the computer doesn't think is wrong, but to you is very wrong. And you'll click one card out of the 100 we have, and it will just explode. So that was a big part of it, as well as balancing, which we are going to get to. It's not incredibly balanced right now, so that's something we're going to do before we actually release it to the store. Go ahead to the next slide.
So to actually do this, we need quite a lot of tools that you can't just run this through a computer. So we had multiple tools that we had to use for this process. So to actually write the code, we had to use something it's called an IDE, or an integrated development environment, which is essentially a software that you can put in your code, you can run it, which we call compiling, which puts all the code together and actually builds it into a form that you can, so that it works. So the software we use is called Eclipse, and it's freely available online. And through Eclipse we had, so since we initially couldn't start off pushing the app onto phones, we had to utilize this thing called an AVD, or an Android virtual device. So what it does is it simulates an Android environment on a computer or whatever you're running it on, and it lets you test the app. So that's how we did most of the initial testing the buttons work, seeing it crash so many times. Yep. And of course, we couldn't have done any of this without the software development kits that's freely available by Android by Google. And the software development kits are technically packages of code that helps you put together the code that you write. So Android, the Java language won't work without the software development kits, because these are the back-end packages or libraries, as you want to call it, that help it run. And once you put all this together, that's pretty much how you write the code and get the program working.
And this is all stuff you can find online. These are accessible to anyone. You just go online and
Everything's
download it with like a simple tutorial. This is our content view layout. If you remember what Greg was saying, that when you start with front-end development, what you have to do is you have to decide what does the user need to see. And it's essentially where the creative process of your game begins. So we wanted to create a game, so we needed to create layouts where we could accomplish that goal. And so as you can see here, this is the very first layout. And it just says Dungeon Raid, and you can, from there, it branches off into 2 different layouts, which is if you want to load a previous game or if you want to start a new game. Pretty straightforward. And you know, that obviously that comes with, we need to be able to save data files, and we need to be able to read from files and stuff. But that'll happen. You just have to think about what does the user need first, and then you go into back-end programming to make that work afterwards. Then from there, you'll go into the main menu, and this is where you can do a lot of different things. You can visit the shop. You can edit your battle actions. When you enter a battle in Dungeon Raid, you have a list of actions that you'll be able to accomplish. So you enter the battle with a certain set of actions, and you can edit the ones you take into the battle. And also from the main menu, you could see your lifetime stats, because we imagine people will like to play this game and they'll be playing for a while, so they'd like to see what they accomplished. And then the biggest part is you can enter Dungeon Co, which is you can take the challenge at least and test your skills. And then that leads you into that takes you to the choose class screen, which just lets you, every time you enter the dungeon, you can try something different. These are different characters that have different attributes. So when you go into the dungeon, you can play differently, or you can try different actions, and you can optimize it however you would like. Then that takes you into the battle layout, where now you are faced against an enemy, and it is your goal to bring their health down to 0, because when their health is 0, they will be fired from the company, or they'll quit because just all of the horrible things you've been doing to them. And then after you defeat a certain number of enemies, there's a chance that you can be promoted. And everybody wants to be promoted. You get more money, and it's a good allegory to like leveling up in a standard RPG. And so you can see that one of the things that could happen is you could get leveled up, and then you would go back to the battle screen and you would continue battling. And what's an RPG without loot? So we also implemented a loot system. There's a chance every time you defeat an enemy that you'll be able to, from their empty cubicle, maybe they left something behind, you can go and take it for yourself to enhance your abilities in your next battle. And then, if you are ever so unfortunate as to not be able to accomplish your goal, you will be fired from Dungeon Co, and you will be taken back to the main menu.
Each time earning cards, then being able to edit your actions, and going in hopefully stronger.
Yeah. Now, in this game, we wanted to have an aspect of permanent progression. So, if you go in once and you failed, we wanted you to feel like, at least I got something out of it. So every time you go into the dungeon, you're able to earn the in-game currency, which is paper clips. Obviously, the more paper clips you have in an office, the better you are than your colleagues. And with those paper clips, you're able to acquire new actions. And also, another way to acquire new actions is to be able to defeat more enemies. And then, if the farther you get, the better actions you get once you exit Dungeon Co. And so that is shown. Yes, here. You can see which actions you've gotten, and that allows you to make further progression the next time you go into Dungeon Co. And eventually, you'll be strong enough to take on the boss and become CEO of Dungeon Co. This game will be published soon. You'll probably see it in the next few weeks in the Google Play Market.
It'll be free, of course.
It's a couple business days while they check over your code and make sure you're not doing anything funny. Special thanks to
we'd like to thank Dr. Jones for setting us on the right path. He's helped us through quite a few challenges that we had programming, and his extensive knowledge has really helped us overcome some obstacles. We'd like to thank the P Drive for
it's really hard to collaborate.
And of course the Google developers, the support. I'm sorry.
Developer support resources.
Support resources, which are freely available online. You can start off Android development using a step-by-step tutorial on how to create your first app, and then continuing on from there are more advanced steps you can take, and then tutorials on like harder methods that you can use to program. So that's been available from the online for free. So
you can quickly see it. We don't have too much time, so we'll get to questions. But I'll say continue because I've played this before.
And this is our AVD, so this simulates that.
Yeah, so this is what would be working on your phone, except it'd be much faster on your phone. Everything would just be much faster. So you can see your deck, you can edit it, you can go in. It takes a little while to load because there's 100 pictures now. But you can go in. There's all these different cards. They have pictures or the pictures with them. So then you can go with there, and I'll have to go back because it says I have too many. Just because we gave every single card, because we wanted to show you guys.
We wanted to show off our creativity with our art.
Yes, or lack of, I don't know, whichever one seems appropriate. So going into battle, you can choose, and you can start beating up the person in Princeton in this case.
And these are your actions here. They each have their own special abilities once you're in battle.
And you can use the question mark to see what each card does, and then once you click on a card.
There you go.
So this is soft punch. Has a simple. It's pretty low damage rating. That's okay, and it doesn't have a card effect. So it's a starter card you can use to to get you going, but you probably want to switch it out later.
So do you guys have any questions now? Probably don't want to take too much more time.
Let's thank these guys. Probably just time for one quick question, and then we'll go from there.
You're lucky enough to raise their hand first.
Don't be shy.
What is the link to download the game? What is the link for downloading the game?
We don't have it up yet.
Right now, we don't have it up on the Android market, but very, very soon.
It's just some balancing issues, so it's fun. It's still fun.
Yes.
What do you mean by balancing issues? For those of us who don't work.
Some cards will be too good or too bad, or you can never win. So this kind of things you have to take into account. So yeah,
So the
it'll be a
game's
lot of
still
work.
fair, it's still challenging, but it's also fun. So you're not
And you should be able to beat it the first time.
And if you can't like kill someone in the first hit, some stuff like that does happen on the first run through. So that's pretty much what we mean by balancing and fix those.
I changed my, I guess I'm the moderator, you asked the last question. Will you give us a prize, the first person to beat the game when you release it?
Oh, there's a built-in prize, actually. You get to see it once you defeat the boss.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.